The bustling afternoon at Le Jardin, a high-end restaurant nestled in the heart of Berlin, was anything but ordinary that day. Sunlight poured through the tall glass windows, illuminating the polished wooden floors and the elegant chandeliers hanging overhead. Patrons sipped on artisanal coffee and nibbled on delicate pastries, the faint hum of polite conversation filling the air. Among the staff moving gracefully from table to table was Amina Johnson, a young black woman whose calm demeanor and attentive service had earned her a subtle reputation among the restaurant's regular clientele. She was wearing her crisp black uniform apron tied neatly at her waist, her hair pulled back into a tight bun that emphasized her sharp, intelligent eyes. Amina had been working at Le Jardin for nearly 3 years, and she knew the rhythm of the restaurant like the back of her hand. She could anticipate when a customer would need more water, when a table needed clearing, and when someone was about to leave a generous tip. It was this level of attentiveness that made her exceptional, not just as a waitress, but as a professional, navigating a world where appearances and assumptions often overshadowed merit. That afternoon, a figure entered the restaurant who instantly changed the atmosphere. Alexander von Hohenberg, a billionaire known for his luxurious lifestyle and often cold, calculated demeanor, made his way inside. Von Hohenberg was in his late 40s, impeccably dressed in a tailored navy suit, with a gold watch peeking from beneath his cuff. His presence was commanding. When he entered, conversations seemed to quiet down slightly, and even the staff felt a subtle shift in the air. He carried an aura of wealth and entitlement that was hard to ignore. Amina, stationed at a nearby table, immediately recognized him from a photograph she had seen in a business magazine months earlier. His reputation for arrogance and condescension preceded him, yet Amina maintained her composure, reminding herself that professionalism required nothing less than her full focus and respect, regardless of a customer's behavior. Von Hohenberg was seated at a corner table, and soon enough, Amina was tasked with taking his order. As she approached him, she offered her usual polite smile. "Good afternoon, sir. May I take your order?" she asked in clear, flawless German, her accent soft and professional. He looked her over, his eyes scanning her from head to toe in a way that made her pause for just a moment. Then he smirked. "Ah, yes," he said, his German tinged with a cold, mocking tone. "You speak German, do you?" His gaze was dismissive, his smile not one of warmth, but of amusement at what he seemed to consider an unexpected trait in a black woman. "I assumed, well, never mind. English is fine too. I wouldn't want to confuse you." The words were laced with condescension, and Amina felt a familiar sting that she had learned to manage over years of facing subtle and not-so-subtle prejudice. Yet she refused to allow it to show. Instead, she straightened her posture, maintaining her calm and professional smile. "I understand perfectly," she said in flawless German, her voice steady, "and I assure you, I can take your order in whichever language you prefer." Von Hohenberg chuckled, leaning back in his chair, clearly expecting her to switch to English, perhaps to test him, or to reinforce his sense of superiority. "Oh, please," he said. "I was just making conversation. You know, it's rare to meet someone like you who speaks the language so well." It was a pause. A deliberate, self-satisfied pause. I mean, really, it's admirable in a way. Amina, however, was not there to be admired or tested. No. Her professionalism and intelligence were her shields. And she had encountered many people like him in her life, people whose arrogance could only be pierced by direct, quiet competence. "Thank you, sir," she replied smoothly, keeping her tone polite, neutral, but firm. "May I take your order now?" Von Hohenberg, still leaning back, seemed to relish the opportunity to assert dominance, though he did not realize the storm that had quietly settled behind Amina's calm eyes. He waved a hand dismissively. "I'll have the steak, medium rare." "And do you have any recommendations?" Amina nodded, preparing to list the daily specials when she realized something. He didn't yet. This man, despite his wealth and worldly status, clearly underestimated her. An underestimation, she knew, often led people to reveal more of themselves than they intended. She took a slow, deliberate breath and replied, "The ribeye is excellent today, sir." locally sourced, cooked over oak fire, seasoned with rosemary. From our own garden, if you prefer, I can suggest a wine pairing that complements it perfectly. Von Hohenberg raised an eyebrow, a small, amused smirk playing across his lips. He leaned slightly forward, intrigued now, sensing that this interaction was no longer merely ordinary. Ah, yes, very well. Suggest the wine, then, Amina recited. The wine pairing in precise detail, her knowledge evident in every word. She described the bouquet, the notes, the finish, all in German. Her language was precise, her knowledge unassailable, and every syllable carried authority. Von Hohenberg's smirk faltered just slightly, as he realized he had assumed far too much. The moment he leaned back, perhaps to gather himself, Amina added, still in perfect German, "And I would recommend the side of truffle mashed potatoes they complement the ribeye and the wine beautifully." Von Hohenberg froze. His smirk evaporated entirely. The realization hit him like a splash of cold water. This woman, whom he had subconsciously dismissed and mocked, was fluent, knowledgeable, and composed. There was no hesitation, no uncertainty. Nothing to suggest the superficial stereotypes he had unconsciously relied upon. He tried to recover, forcing a laugh, but it came out strained. "Well, I must admit," he stammered slightly. "I didn't expect that." Amina nodded politely, her calm exterior unchanged. "Expectations can be misleading, sir," she said softly, her words carrying a gentle but unmistakable weight. "It is always best to approach people without assumptions." For a brief moment, the restaurant seemed to shrink around him. Other patrons remained oblivious, but to von Hohenberg, the moment was crushing. He was wealthy, powerful, and accustomed to unquestioned dominance. Yet here, in this elegantly lit restaurant, he felt the subtle sting of humility, delivered not through confrontation or insult, but through quiet, unwavering competence. Amina turned and walked away, clipboard in hand, her steps measured and deliberate. Von Hohenberg watched her go, stunned into silence, his mind processing the shift that had just occurred. He realized that his assumptions about people based on appearance or background were not just incorrect, they were dangerously limiting. The rest of his meal passed in relative silence. Each bite of steak a reminder that the world often held surprises for those who assumed they already knew everything. When Amina returned to his table to check if he needed anything else, he hesitated, then asked cautiously, "May I?" "Name?" She smiled lightly. "Amina Johnson, sir. It's been a pleasure serving you." He nodded, a newfound respect evident in his tone. It was quiet, understated, but it carried weight, the acknowledgement that he had been wrong, and that the world often held lessons in the most unexpected places. By the time he left the restaurant, von Hohenberg's previous arrogance had softened, replaced by a humility he had rarely experienced. The billionaire, used to commanding rooms and demanding attention, had been outmaneuvered not through force, but through grace, intelligence, and the quiet power of knowledge. For Amina, the interaction was nothing extraordinary. She had encountered prejudice before, and she had learned that the best response was always the one that revealed the truth without anger or confrontation. But she also knew that moments like this mattered. They reminded people, even those as powerful as von Hohenberg, that assumptions were dangerous and that respect was earned, not presumed. Weeks later, the incident became a quiet legend among the restaurant staff. Patrons who frequented Le Jardin began asking for the waitress who spoke flawless German, curious to witness the grace and intelligence that had left even a billionaire humbled. Amina continued her work with the same calm professionalism, her actions speaking louder than any words could. Von Hohenberg, for his part, returned to his world of opulence and high society, but the lesson lingered. In private, he found himself reflecting on the encounter, recalling the precise way Amina had responded, the measured confidence in her voice, and the quiet authority that had shattered his assumptions. It was a lesson he would not forget, a reminder that appearances could be deceiving, and that true power often lay not in wealth, but in knowledge, integrity, the courage to speak truth to those who underestimate you. And so, in the elegant, sunlit corridors of Le Jardin, simple act of grace ordering a meal, Speaking one's mind with calm certainty became a quiet revolution, humbling a man accustomed to commanding the world and reminding everyone present that intelligence, dignity, and self-respect transcend all boundaries of wealth, race, or status. Amina Johnson continued her work, quietly shaping perceptions, quietly challenging assumptions, and quietly proving that the truest form of power was not in mockery or wealth, but in skill, knowledge, and unwavering confidence.